I was wrong about my Dallas Cowboys. They're obviously not better than everybody thinks. They're way, way, way worse than everybody thinks, even me. I just watched 3 hours of excruciating garbage, of pure embarrassment for Jerry freaking Jones, the general manager and unfortunately the owner of my Dallas Cowboys. I just watched the player they tried half-heartedly to sign and gave up on in favor of Javonte Williams completely take over a game and wreak his revenge on my Dallas Cowboys. I just watched Rico Dowdle. I don't care who Rico Dowdle is, but I had to care today. He wreaked revenge and havoc on my Dallas Cowboys by carrying the ball 30 times for 183 yards, 6.1 per carry. It seemed like every first down was an automatic 8-yard gain. He caught 4 more for 56 more yards, so he went way over 200 and a touchdown. He took over the game. He inspired the home team. And I had to watch my defense that individually I still weirdly believe in. There's a lot of individual talent on that defense, but I watched it quit on Matt Eberflus, the defensive coordinator. He has to go. He has to be fired. It is shameful how poorly this defense continues to perform for Matt Eberflus. He was a fraud as a head coach. He's a fraud as a defensive coordinator. He has no idea. I see nothing clever, nothing creative. They quit on him today. They look lost, they play lost, and they lost to the Carolina Panthers, who were home underdogs to the Cowboys today. They lost because they're a disaster on defense. They had 1 sack on a blitz by Leafau. They should be blitzing every other play, but Eberflus doesn't blitz. And when he does, it's on the most obvious downs and situations. We had 1 sack and 5 hits on the quarterback. And mostly Bryce Young had all day and now what feels like all night to find receivers when it mattered the most. We got shredded by Bryce Young because Rico Dowdle shredded us with his legs. He called us out after last Sunday's game in which he ran for, 206 against the Dolphins at Carolina. They roared back from 17-0 down and won the game. He called us out. You better buckle up. And we called in sick. It was pure vomit sickness. It was run to the toilet. It was diarrhea sickness. It was disgusting. Puke sickness, puke all over the floor sickness. I've never seen anything quite like it. If we didn't get the 1 turnover that we got on a pass that went through hands and was tipped up in the air, it was a lucky turnover. It was the only one we were able to, quote unquote, force. If we don't get that, we probably get blown out. But instead, it was excruciatingly embarrassing because we had to watch, in the end, the Carolina Panthers go 71 yards in 15 plays to kill the clock and take a chip shot walk-off field goal to beat us 30-27. We couldn't stop the Carolina Panthers all day long. They went for 410 yards to our 292. If we hadn't had George Pickens, who now rivals CD for impact, Dak was pretty good. We just couldn't stop him. We couldn't get the ball back. And we had no run game. Javonte Williams looked like he was running in quicksand today, just deep, muddy quicksand. He didn't have his burst. He had no quickness. He had no explosion. He ran the ball 13 times for 29 yards. That's barely over 2 yards a carry against a Rico Dowdle who was going 6 yards per carry on 30 carries. It's just shameful. It's disgusting. It's despicable. It's unwatchable. I mean, they had 27 first downs to our 15, 27 to 15. And finally, on that last drive, we had one chance to win the game, maybe two, but one for sure. With 5:26 left, we've pushed them into a 3rd and 7 at their 17. This is where you rise up and you make one play to win the game. And instead, we blitzed. It was like the most obvious blitz ever. Bryce Young had plenty of time to get the ball away to Leggett on a little crossing route. He's falling down, and Kaiir Elam, a Buffalo cast-off that we signed on the cheap, Kaiir Elam basically tackles Leggett before the ball gets there, both arms around him. As he's falling down, he was falling anyway. I don't think he would have caught it, but we interfered, and it was clearly interference. And they get a first down that just crushed my soul. And then we kind of hang in for a while, and with 2:31 left, we force them into a 4th and 4 at our 40-yard line. And they go for it. I thought maybe they'd try some extraordinary field goal at this point, some intergalactic field goal, but no, they go for it. They're not going to punt. We can't stop them. 2:31 left. And
the Dallas Cowboys walked into Bank of America Stadium with momentum, confidence, and the belief that this was a statement game, a chance to prove that the Micah Parsons trade, the Brian Schottenheimer era, and this new-look defense were finally gelling. Instead, they left Carolina with humiliation, heartbreak, and more questions than answers. The Cowboys lost 30-27 to the Panthers, and this wasn't just a bad Sunday, this was a reality check that shook the organization from top to bottom. From the opening drive, it was clear something wasn't right. The offense looked crisp, Dak Prescott was locked in, George Pickens was electric, but the defense, the supposed strength of Dallas football, crumbled once again. This was a game the Cowboys had no business losing. Carolina entered the matchup ranked 29th in rushing and missing key starters, yet somehow they outmuscled, outcoached, and out-toughed the Dallas defense for 4 straight quarters. The numbers are staggering. The Panthers rushed for 216 yards, the most Dallas has surrendered all season. Former Cowboy Rico Dowdle, the man who once wore the star, dominated with 183 rushing yards, 56 receiving yards, and 2 touchdowns. That's not just a performance, that's revenge. And what makes it worse is that Dowdle warned them. He said during the week, they better bring their pads. Dallas didn't. They got embarrassed. After the game, Dowdle didn't hold back either, saying they weren't ready, they weren't buckled up. It's the kind of quote that will echo in that Cowboys locker room all week long. Dak Prescott did everything in his power to win. He finished with over 300 yards, 2 touchdowns, and no interceptions. His command of the offense was exceptional, his connection with George Pickens unstoppable. Pickens recorded over 160 yards and another touchdown, continuing his breakout stretch. But none of it mattered, because the defense couldn't stop a rookie quarterback on a 19-play drive to close the game. Let that sink in. 19 plays, 6 minutes, all on the ground, chewing the clock, suffocating Dallas's chance to respond. That drive was the death march of this game. And when the clock hit 0, something even louder than the boos filled the air: silence from Jerry Jones. The owner, the face of this franchise, the eternal optimist, said nothing. He left the stadium without a word to the media. That's rare. When Jerry goes silent, that's not calm, that's calculation. It usually means big decisions are being considered behind closed doors. Cowboys Nation, this wasn't just a defensive collapse. This was a breakdown in leadership, discipline, and identity. Matt Eberflus's defense looks lost, predictable, reactive, and soft on the edges. Every time Dallas brings pressure, they give up a screen. Every time they sit back, they give up 12 yards a carry. The tackling is sloppy, the communication is non-existent, and the body language tells the story of a group that has lost belief in itself. After the game, several players admitted frustration. Safety Wanye Thomas said, "We have the best offense in the league. They're going to score. We have to get stops. That's on us." That's accountability, yes, but it's also quiet admission that this defense is broken. Head coach Brian Schottenheimer stood at the podium and called it what it was. "We didn't win the line of scrimmage." That's an understatement. The Cowboys were bullied. Carolina dictated the tone, and Dallas looked like the team playing from behind all game long. For a defense that's supposed to thrive on aggression, they looked hesitant, late to react, and devoid of energy. And now the pressure shifts. Not to Dak, not to Pickens, not to the offense, but to Jerry Jones and the defensive staff. Because this isn't just a bad loss, it's a pattern. The Cowboys have now allowed over 120 rushing yards in 4 of their last 5 games. They rank near the bottom of the league in run defense efficiency. And it's not just numbers, it's moments. Every time they need a stop, they fold. Every time the offense gives them a lead, they give it right back. The absence of Micah Parsons continues to haunt this team. Trading him was a bold decision, one Jerry justified by saying it would make Dallas stronger against the run and more disciplined up front. But through 6 games, the results speak for themselves. Without Parsons' chaos factor, this defense looks robotic, static, and soulless. James Houston, the supposed breakout star, flashes brilliance but disappears for stretches. Kenny Clark anchors the line but can't generate push on his own. The linebackers are slow to the gaps, and the edge containment, if we can even call it that, has been non-existent. The reality is simple. If this team wants to contend, something has to change on defense. You can't win championships when you have to score 35 points a game to survive. Dak Prescott and this offense have done their part. They've been efficient, explosive, and poised. But without a defense that can complement them, it's all for nothing. Now let's talk about Jerry, because this is the part of the story where history matters. Jerry Jones has never been afraid to make a move when his back's against the wall. He's fired coaches mid-season before. He's pulled blockbuster trades out of nowhere. And after this loss, the noise is deafening. Des Bryant posted, "Somebody's getting fired." Insiders are whispering that Jerry is furious, and with good reason. The Cowboys don't lose to the Panthers. Not this version of them, not with this much talent, and not with a quarterback playing this well. The timing of this collapse is brutal. Dallas is entering a stretch of winnable games, Commanders, Giants, and Titans, and they can't afford to spiral. The NFC East is still wide open, but one more loss like this, and they'll be fighting for wild card scraps instead of division control. And that's where leadership has to step up. This is where we see whether Brian Schottenheimer is truly the right man for this job. Can he stabilize this locker room? Can he hold Eberflus accountable? Can Jerry resist his instinct to make an emotional move? Because the clock is ticking. Here's the truth. This team is too good to lose like this. Dak is playing some of the best football of his career. Pickens looks like a star. Even the offensive line, despite injuries, held up against consistent pressure. But none of it matters when the defense can't close. You can't preach toughness and then fold on 3rd and 2. You can't talk about identity when you don't play with one. And let's not forget the optics. National media is circling like vultures. ESPN's First Take spent half its morning debating whether Jerry Jones should clean house. Analysts are calling this the most embarrassing loss of the Cowboys season. Even Skip Bayless, one of the biggest Cowboys supporters, said that wasn't just a loss, that was a moral collapse. When even the loyalists turn, you know the tide has shifted. But Cowboys Nation, as much as this hurts, this isn't the end. This is the breaking point, the moment where we find out what this team is really made of. Teams either crumble or they respond. And Dallas has the talent to respond. They have the quarterback. They have the offensive firepower. What they need now is leadership, someone to demand accountability and light that spark again. The next week will tell us everything. Will Jerry Jones finally hold this coaching staff accountable? Will the defense rediscover its edge? Or will this become another chapter in the long saga of what could have been for the Cowboys? Because if this game proved anything, it's that the Cowboys don't lack talent, they lack urgency. And that, more than anything, must change right now. Cowboys Nation, I want to hear your voice. Should Jerry Jones make a move before the Washington game? Do you still believe in this coaching staff? Or has this defense lost your trust? Drop your thoughts in the comments, hit that like button if you're still riding with America's team, and don't forget to subscribe to Cowboys Nation Report for full coverage, analysis, and reaction as Dallas tries to pick up the pieces. This was a gut check game, and Dallas failed the test. But the season isn't over, and if there's one thing history tells us, it's that the Cowboys always come back swinging. Now it's time to see if this team has the fight to back up the star.